For privacy reasons, names and places have been changed. This story is inspired by true events.
In late 2000, 33-year-old Renata Villaseñor and her family set out for a holiday stroll on San Antonio's famous river walk near Valita Street. They never returned. Despite an extensive investigation that found their minivan untouched in a garage, Renata and her entire family vanished without a trace. For 17 agonizing years, the community and their devastated relatives lived with profound uncertainty, haunted by unanswered questions. Then in 2017, after routine maintenance flushing, a startling discovery was made. A child's charm bracelet caught deep within a storm-drained grate. Its tiny links held a shocking secret, hinting at a hidden truth. This is the complete investigation into what happened to Renata Villaseñor and her family, and the unexpected clues that finally brought their story to light. Before we continue, let us know where you're watching from, and if you enjoy this content, consider liking and subscribing to our channel. Now let's continue. The year 2000 in San Antonio, Texas, concluded with the familiar glow of holiday lights reflecting on the tranquil waters of the River Walk. It was a season of warmth and celebration, drawing locals and tourists alike to its festive banks, a vibrant ribbon of culture and community winding through the heart of the city. Families congregated, their laughter echoing amidst the carolers and the gentle murmur of the river, creating an idyllic backdrop for cherished memories. Among the countless individuals embracing this festive atmosphere was Renata Villaseñor, a 33-year-old mother and dedicated florist, known for her artistic touch and unwavering commitment to her family. Her planned holiday stroll along the River Walk, particularly near the historic Valita Street, was to be a simple, joyous outing, a routine pleasure in a life marked by everyday certainties. There was nothing to suggest this particular evening would deviate from the norm, no hint of the profound silence that was about to descend. Yet, this ordinary family outing marked their last known public appearance. The Villaseñor family simply vanished. The immediate aftermath was not one of dramatic discovery, but of a creeping, unsettling void. Their absence became palpable not through a sudden, violent event, but through a lack of presence, a silence where there should have been sound. Crucially, their family minivan remained untouched and undisturbed in a multi-story parking garage, a silent testament to an abrupt and unexplained departure from their daily lives. It sat there, an inert steel shell, offering no clues as to the fate of its occupants, a perplexing detail that would confound investigators for years. Days bled into a week, then more, and the casual inquiries of friends and colleagues transformed into an unsettling alarm. Renata Villaseñor, a woman known for her meticulous planning and consistent communication, had simply ceased to be present. Calls went unanswered, appointments were missed, and the vibrant life of a family abruptly ceased its rhythm. This uncharacteristic silence swiftly drew the attention of local authorities, marking the official beginning of a baffling mystery that would stretch far beyond the festive season. The uncharacteristic silence from the Villaseñor household quickly escalated from concern to official alarm. When friends and extended family could no longer reach Renata or any member of her immediate family, a missing persons report was filed with the San Antonio Police Department. Investigators were immediately faced with a perplexing situation. A family had simply ceased to exist within their known routines. There was no note, no sign of forced entry at their home, no financial irregularities, only an absence. The initial assessment was broad, encompassing every possibility from a voluntary departure to a tragic accident or, more disturbingly, foul play. Search efforts immediately concentrated on the last known location of the Villaseñors, the bustling San Antonio River Walk near Valita Street. River Patrol SGT Leo Montoya, a veteran of the local force, spearheaded a meticulous search of the waterways and surrounding pedestrian areas. The task was formidable. The River Walk, a labyrinth of paths, bridges, and hidden nooks, compounded by its constant flow of visitors, made systematic searching incredibly challenging. Divers explored the murky depths of the river, while officers canvassed businesses and residences, yet no eyewitness accounts offered in. Why concrete leads? The festive lights that had illuminated their last known steps now seemed to mock the darkness of the unknown. A central enigma remained the family's minivan, discovered precisely where it had been parked in a downtown garage. Its undisturbed state presented a significant puzzle. If the family had intended to leave San Antonio, why would their primary mode of transport remain behind? Forensic technicians painstakingly examined the vehicle, searching for any trace evidence, signs of struggle, or indications of a forced departure. Yet the minivan yielded nothing. It was clean, silent, and offered no insight into the fate of its owners. This detail baffled seasoned investigators, suggesting either an elaborate deception or an unforeseen event that circumvented their vehicle entirely. As days turned into weeks, the initial flurry of activity began to wane, replaced by a growing sense of frustration. Theories were proposed, investigated, and ultimately dismissed, each leading to a dead end. Voluntary disappearance was considered, but Renata Villesneur's established life and lack of any discernible motive made it highly improbable. An accident seemed plausible given the proximity to the river, but extensive searches yielded no evidence. Foul play, while always a possibility in such cases, lacked any physical indicators or suspects. The Villesneur disappearance quickly settled into a deeply unsettling pattern, becoming a case defined by its profound lack of answers. As the initial weeks of intense searching yielded nothing, the relentless passage of time began its inevitable work on the Villesneur investigation. The urgent calls for public assistance dwindled, the posters bearing the family's faces faded in the sunlight, and the comprehensive grid searches of the River Walk became less frequent, then ceased altogether. Months turned into years, each one adding another layer of dust to the unsolved mystery. The initial flurry of police activity, the palpable sense of urgency, gradually subsided, replaced by a quiet, persistent frustration. New tips became scarce, then non-existent, and every avenue explored led back to the same impenetrable wall of silence. The San Antonio Police Department, faced with other pressing cases and dwindling leads, had no choice but to reallocate its resources, though the file on the Villesneur family remained open, if dormant. For those who knew Renata Villesneur and her family, the passing years brought not solace, but an intensifying torment. The hope that had flickered in the early days slowly gave way to a profound and crushing uncertainty. Birthdays passed uncelebrated, holidays were shadowed by absence, and every news report of another missing person case rekindled the agony. The weight of the unknown settled heavily upon their shoulders, a constant, gnawing question that offered no respite. There was no body to mourn, no grave to visit, only the perpetual agony of not knowing what had transpired on that festive San Antonio evening. This lack of closure cast a long, cold shadow over their lives, transforming grief into an enduring, unanswerable interrogation of fate. Eventually, the Villesneur disappearance, lacking any new evidence or viable leads, was formally classified as a cold case. This designation did not signify an end to the investigation, but rather a shift in its status. The extensive files meticulously compiled over the initial frantic months were carefully indexed and shelved, moved from active detective desks to archival storage. While the primary search effort ceased, the case was never truly closed. It simply entered a state of hibernation, awaiting a catalyst, a new piece of information, however small, that might one day breathe life back into its dormant pages. The Villesneur family vanished, leaving behind only questions, and their disappearance settled into the collective memory of San Antonio as one of its most enduring and heartbreaking mysteries. 17 years had passed since the Villesneur family vanished, and the case had long since settled into the quiet dormancy of a cold file. The bustling river walk continued its rhythm, oblivious to the enduring mystery it held. Then, in the summer of 2017, the mundane operations of city infrastructure maintenance unexpectedly intersected with this lingering enigma. A routine flushing of San Antonio's complex network of storm drains was underway, a preventative measure to clear blockages and ends. Your smooth water flow, particularly in the areas surrounding the river walk. City engineer Priya Venkataraman oversaw the operation, a standard procedure involving powerful water jets directed through the underground conduits. As the torrents of water roared through the subterranean passages, dislodging years of accumulated debris, a maintenance worker performing a final check at a grate near Valita Street noticed an anomaly. Amidst the detritus of leaves, silt, and urban runoff, a faint metallic glint caught his eye. Carefully, the worker reached into the grate, retrieving a small, tarnished object. It was a child's charm bracelet, delicate and aged, its tiny links and miniature charms caked with grime but still discernible. The discovery, seemingly minor, was reported up the chain of command, eventually landing on the desk of investigators still vaguely familiar with the cold case files. Forensic examination quickly confirmed the bracelet's age and type. More critically, through painstaking comparison with archival photographs and family testimony from the initial investigation, the bracelet was positively identified as belonging to one of the missing Villaseñor children. The jolt of recognition was immediate and profound. A tangible link to the vanished family, surfacing after nearly 2 decades, injected a sudden, desperate hope into what had become a symbol of enduring loss. This unexpected find shattered the long-standing silence surrounding the Villaseñor disappearance. The city of San Antonio, and indeed the nation, was reminded of the unsolved mystery. What had been a cold case, relegated to the archives, was now officially reopened with a renewed sense of urgency and purpose. Investigators, some of whom had worked the original case, found themselves poring over old files with fresh eyes, re-examining every detail in light of this astonishing new piece of evidence. The charm bracelet, a small, unassuming artifact pulled from the depths of a storm drain, had become the unexpected catalyst, promising to unravel a truth that had remained hidden for 17 long years. It was a moment of profound significance, transforming a story of absence into a renewed quest for answers. The discovery of the child's charm bracelet, 17 years after the Villaseñor family vanished, injected an immediate and profound urgency into what had long been a dormant file. A new investigative team was swiftly assembled, comprising both seasoned detectives who remembered the original perplexing disappearance and younger officers bringing fresh perspectives to the stale evidence. Among them was SGT, Leo Montoya, whose memory of the initial, fruitless searches along the river walk remained vivid. He reflected on the renewed energy, a palpable shift from the quiet despair that had settled over the case for so long. The bracelet, tarnished yet undeniably real, was no longer just a relic. It was the sole tangible piece of evidence, a slender thread leading back into the past. The new investigation commenced with a meticulous forensic deep dive into the charm bracelet itself. Every link, every miniature charm, and the residue clinging to its surface became the subject of intense scientific scrutiny. In a state-of-the-art laboratory, forensic technicians employed a battery of advanced techniques, from scanning electron microscopy to chemical spectroscopy, to analyze every minute detail. They sought not only to confirm its authenticity and origin, but also to extract any environmental trace evidence that might have adhered to it over time. The goal was to reconstruct the bracelet's journey, to understand what it had encountered before its eventual resting place in the storm drain. It was during this painstaking analysis that the critical discovery was made: microscopic traces of lime slurry embedded within the intricate links of the bracelet. This material, a mixture of lime and water, was not a common environmental contaminant found in typical urban runoff. Its presence immediately suggested a specific type of industrial or construction activity. City engineer Priya Venkataraman, consulted by the investigative team, confirmed the rarity of lime slurry outside of specific applications. She explained that it was primarily used in certain construction processes, particularly for soil stabilization, road base preparation, or specialized concrete work. Its distinct chemical signature narrowed the potential origins considerably, suggesting that the bracelet, and by extension, the child who wore it, had come into contact with a very particular environment. The presence of lime slurry transformed the investigation's trajectory. No longer were detectives searching a vast, undifferentiated urban landscape. Their focus was now sharply defined. The clue pointed them towards construction sites or specific detours where such materials would have been actively used around the time of the Villesnier family's disappearance in 2000. It was a lead both precise and unexpected, offering the first real direction in nearly 2 decades, guiding their search to a very specific type of location and activity that had previously been overlooked. The breakthrough began not with a dramatic confession, but with the meticulous sifting through municipal archives. With the lime slurry providing an unprecedented lead, investigators embarked on the painstaking process of cross-referencing San Antonio's city records from the year 2000. They scoured maps, construction permits, and engineering reports, searching for any project that utilized lime slurry within a reasonable proximity to the River Walk and Velita Street. The task was immense, a deep dive into 2-decade-old infrastructure data, but the specificity of the clue paid off. After weeks of dedicated research, a single, significant construction detour was identified. It was a road improvement project that, for a limited time in late 2000, involved extensive soil stabilization using lime slurry, creating a temporary, dusty environment precisely where the bracelet's residue indicated. While the bracelet offered a geographical anchor, the minivan, initially a symbol of their abrupt absence, held another crucial key. The vehicle had been left in a downtown parking garage, and its records, though archaic, proved invaluable. Garage cashier Mo Delgado, still working at the same location, vaguely recalled the family and, more importantly, the garage's old system of cash parking receipts. Unlike modern digital logs, these paper receipts, meticulously archived, contained handwritten timestamps. Analysis of these faded documents revealed a surprisingly tight departure window for the Villesnier minivan, a period of mere hours on the day of their disappearance, when the vehicle had, in fact, been moved from its initial spot. This contradicted the long-held assumption of its permanent, untouched status and pointed to a brief, critical window of activity. The convergence of these two seemingly disparate clues, the lime slurry from a specific construction detour and the minivan's tight departure window, sparked the critical realization. The construction detour, active in 2000, involved the precise type of lime slurry found on the bracelet. The minivan's departure, pinpointed by archaic receipts, now aligned with this detour's operational hours. It was then that an obscure notation from a forgotten traffic report, cross-referenced with the construction zone's temporary rerouting, revealed a critical detail. A minivan matching the Villesniers had been observed on a rarely used service ramp, precisely within that narrow window of opportunity, and critically, in direct proximity to the lime slurry operation. The pieces, once scattered and meaningless, began to interlock with horrifying clarity. The bracelet, the slurry, the detour, the receipts, and the service ramp sighting converged into a coherent, albeit tragic, narrative illuminating what had happened to the Villesnier family after 17 years of silence. The convergence of the disparate clues finally allowed investigators to reconstruct the truth of that perplexing evening in 2000. The minivan, contrary to initial assumptions, had not remained untouched in the parking garage. The archaic cash receipts confirmed a brief, critical window during which the vehicle was moved. Instead of exiting onto a main thoroughfare, the Villesnier family, likely disoriented by the temporary construction detour near Velita Street, had inadvertently driven their minivan onto a rarely used service ramp. This ramp, obscured from public view and temporarily impacted by the very lime slurry operation identified by the Bracelet, became the site of their disappearance. It was here, amidst the dust and chaos of the construction, that the child's charm bracelet had fallen, becoming embedded with the telltale lime residue before being washed into the storm drain, a silent witness to their last known moment. In T.S., the full sequence of events, long obscured by the passage of time and the lack of initial evidence, now revealed a tragic narrative of misdirection and unforeseen circumstances within a confined, industrial area. After 17 years of agonizing uncertainty, the specific resolution achieved was not the discovery of a culprit, but the profound understanding of what happened. The investigation concluded that the Villesnier family had encountered an unforeseen and tragic event on that service ramp, directly connected to the active construction detour and the materials being used. The precise nature of their ultimate fate remained a private detail for the family, but the mechanism of their vanishing was now clear, pieced together by the smallest, most overlooked clue. The silence that had shrouded their disappearance was finally broken, replaced by a coherent explanation derived from forensic science and tenacious detective work. The significance of the bracelet's discovery could not be overstated. A small, tarnished object, plucked from a storm drain during routine maintenance, had single-handedly reignited a cold case and provided the missing link to a nearly 2-decade-old mystery. The perseverance of individuals like SGT. Leo Montoya, who had carried the weight of the unsolved case for so long, was vindicated. The meticulous work of city engineer Priya Venkataraman's team and the archival diligence that uncovered Mo. Delgado's old parking receipts proved that every detail, however mundane, could hold the key to unlocking the most complex enigmas. It was a testament to the fact that no case is ever truly closed, and that truth, however deeply buried, can eventually find its way to the surface. The Villesnier case stands as a poignant reminder of the enduring power of forensic science and the resilience of investigative spirit. It underscores how even the most minute piece of evidence, when combined with dedicated analysis and a willingness to revisit old assumptions, can unravel the most heartbreaking mysteries. The San Antonio River Walk, a place of vibrant life and cherished memories, now also holds the quiet, resolved memory of a family whose fate was finally understood, thanks to a small, forgotten bracelet and the unwavering pursuit of truth.